welcome back, guys. This video is a little late, but yeah, what can I say? I just been a bit distracted, and I kind of forgot to film this video. But yeah, January just flew by, and I'm actually really proud of myself because I've read like loads of books this January. None of the books really stuck out to me. None of them, like, they weren't like 5 stars or anything, but I did read loads of books. I feel like I'm like slowly going into a reading slump, which is, you know, really unfortunate to like start the year with a reading slump. But I don't know, just none of the books have been catching any type of my attention. Like, when I'm reading the books, I'm like, oh my god, this book's really good. I'm not saying all the books I've read this month is bad, but I'm just saying they haven't been catching my attention. Like, I've read the books and I'm like, while I'm reading them, loving them, and then when I finish reading them, it's like I don't really think about them ever again. I'm just like, I literally had to like look up on my Notion what I read this month because I kind of like sort of forgot. But yeah, it was a good reading month because in terms of quantity of books. Quality, not so much. But yeah, let's get into the books that I read this month. First one is One of Us Is Back, which I read for the finishing series I'm in the middle of video, which there will be a part 2 to that. I'm literally currently working on that. But like I said, the series I'm in the middle of are long series, they're like 1/4 and everything, and I am in a book slump, so it may take a little longer, but I'll try to sprinkle in videos in between that. But yeah, I read One of Us Is Back, which is part of the Bayview High series. Honestly, I wish that I read like a summary of the series before I read this, because I was confused with like the characters. I read this series like a while ago, like a very long time ago, and I feel like I should have really read a summary about what happened in the last book, because I knew the gist of what happened in the last book, but when I looked up all the characters and the characters' names, I was just like so confused. I knew the main characters, but the little side characters, I'm like, who is this person again? I honestly can't remember who this person is and how this person affects the story and what this had to do with the story. So yeah, this is a bit confusing, but that could have been my fault because I maybe should have looked up a summary. But yeah, I did love it. I ended up rating it, I didn't even put a rating down here. I ended up rating it, I rated it 3 stars on my Notion. And yeah, if you follow me on Goodreads, because I do have a Goodreads, I don't know if I put it in the description, but I'll try to, just know that most of the ratings on my Goodreads are subject to change. Like, the one rating that will probably always stand true is the ones on my Notion, because the ones on my Notion are usually the ones that I change if I ever change the book. Getting off topic, I really liked this. Obviously, I'm not going to say too much about it because it's part of a trilogy, so I wouldn't be spoiling the story for you. But yeah, I feel like it was a nice finale. I wish that I knew a bit of what was going on, but it was a good book nonetheless. Next, I actually read The Predator by Nunix. I don't know. I read that on my Kindle, and I rated it 4 stars. I will say the start of the book was, for me, really slow. Like, I was invested in the story because I was like wondering what was going on with like everything, but the start, and it's a romance, it's like a mafia romance, so the start of the romance was really slow. It is like a sort of slow burn because they only really start having anything like towards, I don't know, the middle of the book, the last few pages. But when I read the last chapter, if you've read the series, the last chapter absolutely was just like, what? And learning about, I honestly forgot his name, it's not Julian, I don't know, Kane? Reading about the main male character's backstory and finding out the backstory and finding out the plot twist, I was like, what? And yeah, there is kind of a mystery element to it, and this is part of a series, and I was reading the first book on the Kindle to see if I wanted to even continue the series, and I definitely do. As soon as I finished that book, I immediately went to buy the second book on Amazon, and I've got it there ready to read. So yeah, I rated it 4 stars. It wasn't a 5 stars because it was just very slow at the beginning. So basically it's a mafia romance about this woman. Her father's in the mafia, and her father's he's just not a good guy. But her father's in the mafia, and she's very smart. Like, she's one of them female characters that is not like a damsel in distress. She's very intelligent, and she's like, she does coding and hacking and everything like that, and she's like really cool. And anyway, basically the premise of it is that she made these codes that could be dangerous. I forgot what the codes do, but they could be like dangerous in the wrong hands of like the mafia people. And basically someone steals the codes off her, and she thinks that the person who stole them is her father's rival gang, which is called The Outfit, I think. And that's where the main male character, that's his mafia gang, and they call him the Predator, right? And like each of the boys in the family have like their own names, and he's called the Predator because he's like ruthless and everything. So basically she's trying to find out, she's basically trying to get the codes from him and stuff without her father finding out, because then her father will like mess her up if he finds out that she lost these very important codes that she created in the first place. And yeah, it's a romance basically, where they're not technically supposed to be a romance because they're part of two rival mafias. And I actually haven't read a mafia book in a long time. I actually think the last time I read anything to do with a mafia romance was on Wattpad, which was years ago, because I don't usually read on Wattpad anymore. But I was like, you know, I saw Larry reading the series and I saw her vlog on it, and I was like, this series seems good, and I haven't read a mafia romance in such a long time, so I was like, I'll give it a try. And at first I was like, I don't know, I'm just not feeling the romance, because Tristan, that's his name, Tristan Kane, he's very closed off, as in like, Larry said this in her vlog, that it wasn't dual POV and that she wished it was dual POV, and I was like, same. I honestly wish that this whole thing was dual POV, because when they were talking and when she was like, I just couldn't tell what was going on in his mind, if he liked her, if he didn't like her, if he hated her. But anyway, I did really like the book, and I can't wait to get to the second one to find out the mystery of everything and like the romance. Right now I feel like I'm more interested in the mystery than I am with the romance, but hopefully the second book will change that. And the second book follows Tristan and her again, but I think the rest of the books follow the other men in the family. I think the third one follows his brother maybe. But yeah, I'm like really excited. I really loved it. Rated it 4 stars. Moving on to the next one. The next one I read was Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Now, I rated this 3 stars, which I wouldn't say was surprising. I mean, it was a bit surprising. As you know, I have read an Ali Hazelwood book before. I read Love on the Brain on my iPad like years ago, and I was liking it, and then I think my reading taste has changed, so I do want to try and reread that book. But I was liking it until we got to the point where the two characters got together, and then I don't know why, but I just was disinterested. I felt like as soon as the two characters got together, the chemistry just left the window. But looking back on that now, I think the only reason why I think that is literally just my reading tastes have changed. Back then I used to read Wattpad and everything like that, so I do feel like my reading tastes have changed from that. And also, I didn't really read on my iPad. I don't know why I read that book on the iPad. I don't know why I didn't just buy the book. But yeah, I don't like reading on the iPad. I've only started reading on my Kindle recently because I prefer to read physical books. I just love the feel of it. But back then I did not used to use my Kindle at all. I didn't use my iPad at all, and I just thought to read it. But then I got obsessed with it, and I was like, wow, I'm actually liking this book on the iPad. But then I just got disinterested, and I honestly think it was just my reading taste back then, where I'd get disinterested as soon as the characters got together because there was no more tension. But I read this one because everybody was freaking out about it, and I actually really liked it. I rated it 3 stars. This follows Mallory and Nolan. And Mallory used to be this chess prodigy. She's really good at chess. Her dad taught her and everything, but her dad is no longer around, and like her family is struggling with money, and basically something happened in her life where she swore off chess. She doesn't want to do chess anymore, and she basically doesn't play it anymore. And she basically just got a lot on her shoulders. But then she gets offered to play chess. As she plays Nolan, he's like a chess superstar. He's like the world's greatest chess player. She plays him, and it's televised, and she ends up beating him, and everybody's like freaking out. So then she gets offered to play chess for money, and obviously she needs the money, and she says to herself, the only reason why I'm doing this is because I need the money, because she promised herself she'd never play chess again, but because her family need the money, because her mom's sick and everything, she ends up taking the job, and she ends up playing Nolan again, and basically it goes from there, and it's kind of like enemies to lovers, kind of, but not really. I don't know. It was just really, really crazy. But yeah, I really liked this book, and honestly, the whole Nolan is not my type of main male character. If you know, so I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but this is young adult, so there's no like, this is all closed door scenes. But if you know the thing about Nolan, that, I don't know if it's a spoiler, so if it is, skip a bit if you don't want to hear it, just in case. But Nolan is a virgin, and honestly I was very surprised by that, because I hardly ever read books about men being virgins and everything, and I would say that like my type of main male character is the Tristan Kanes of the world, the Damon Salvatores. It's not really the Stefan Salvatores. Like I'm more into the enemies to lovers, and yeah. But I actually really did like this book, even though it wasn't traditionally my cup of tea. I really did like it. I rated it 3 stars, which is honestly good for me, I feel. And yeah, I really did like it. I've got Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, and the other book by her, I honestly can't remember the name of it, but I've got the other book by her from the science series, and I will definitely be reading them. I think this is her first young adult novel, because I think the other ones are adult. I definitely know that Love in the Brain was adult, because there was some adult scenes in that. So I do think the rest of her books are adult, and this is her first young adult, and I really liked it. This kind of made me obsessed with chess for a little bit. I feel like I've gone out of that phase now, but for like a good couple days I was a bit like obsessed with chess, and yeah, I really did like this book. The next one I read is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. I think this is translated from French, I think. I'm not sure, but I think it is. I read this because I saw a TikTok of someone describing this book. I've seen this book around. I've seen the cover. I'm not a person that likes literary fiction or non-fiction. I mainly stick to my fantasy and romance. That's my main 2 genres. And so I saw this around, and I was like, that cover definitely looks like a literary fiction. So I was like, yeah. But then I saw someone talk about the premise of this book, and I was like, wow, okay, now I need to read it. And I bought it instantly, and I rated it, actually, I rated it 4 stars. This is really close to being a 5-star book. The chapters in this are very big, just to let you know. Like, the chapters in this are huge. Think what's it called, The Secret History vibes. Let me actually just try and find a chapter. Think The Secret History vibes. But yeah, it doesn't even have chapters, but like, for example, this, it doesn't have chapters. It's just got these like pauses, which I guess would count as chapters, and look how long that is. Yeah. But I read this in basically 2 days. I did not care, and when a book is that good, that me, who loves short chapters and who put The Secret History down a rating because of its short chapters, me not caring about the short chapters says a lot. I mean, it is a short book, but yeah, it says a lot. The only reason why I rated it 4 stars, it wasn't because of the long chapters. I don't even care about the long chapters. I was like reading this, and I was like, generally, this is the first book I've ever read that has long chapters, and I didn't even care. But basically the premise is there's these women, and they're all underground. I'm actually going to read the back of this because I just don't know how to explain this book. So it says, deep underground, 39 women live imprisoned in a cage, watched over by guards. These women have no memory of how they got there, no notion of time, and only vague recollections of their lives before. As the burn of electric lights merges day into night, and numberless years pass, a young girl, the 40th prisoner, sits alone and outcast in the corner, but soon she will show herself to be the key to the others' escape and survival in the strange world that awaits them above. And I was like, whoa. But yeah, there's this girl, and she's the youngest out of all of them. Most of the girls are in like their 30s, 40s. Some of them are elderly because they've been there for so long. But she's the youngest one. She was basically born in this cage. She's lived here all her life. She doesn't know anything about the outside world. She doesn't know how to count. She doesn't know English, anything. So yeah, the reason why I knocked it down a star, because this was going to be 5 stars, was for the ending. Now, maybe I'm stupid. For literary fiction, that's another reason why, like, I don't really read it, because sometimes I just don't get it. And this is one of those books where maybe someone smarter than me would have gotten the ending, but I did not get the ending, because there's all this mystery surrounding everything. Personally, I do not like open-ended endings. I don't like when, like, there's a thriller book. For example, the ending of Verity messed me up. I did not like that. I needed a second book for that. I don't like when things are left open-ended in like thriller books or any books, or where things are just like left to interpretation for you to create theory. I do not like that. I want to know the answers, because I don't want to like guess, because I want to know the answers. And yeah, that's why I knocked it down like a rating, because the ending was just, I don't get why the ending had to be that way. I still like think like I just want to know. I want to know. Yeah, so the ending, if you've read this book, I personally don't get it, and I was very upset by the ending. When I read the end, when I was like getting close to the end, I was like, okay, but it's getting to the end, so can we please? But yeah, I was very upset when I finished this book. Not that it wasn't bad, it's just I think the ending was bad, but the rest of the book, very good. But if they would have changed the ending, it would have been a 5 stars. Next, I read If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I rated this 3 stars. People have said that this is very sad. And listen, the reason why I read this was because, I know it's not a comparison, but I was preparing myself to read A Little Life, because, well, if you know A Little Life, you know why I had to prepare myself. I've just always been interested, like, not interested, because a couple of years ago, when everybody told me the premise of the book, I was like, okay, I'm not reading that book, it just doesn't sound interesting to me. And to the point where I literally saw like a vlog of someone talking about A Little Life, full spoiler, because I just wanted to know what was such a big deal about this book. I wanted to know what happened, what was so sad and heartbreaking. So I know some of the things that happen in the book. I know all the triggers or anything like that. But for a little while now, I've been slowly interested in reading the book. Like every time I go into Waterstones, the book's just there and I'm like, should I pick it up? The one reason why I don't is because the book's really sad, and it's also very, very long of a book. But I've read long books before. It's mainly just because the book is very sad, and it's a thing of everybody that I've seen read the book has cried at it, and I'm like, if I don't cry at the book or get upset at the book, I feel like I'm just gonna be like a robot. So I don't want to like do that to myself, because I feel like it's like if I read the book, I'm like, okay, well, on one hand I'll be traumatized. On the other hand, if I'm not traumatized and I'm just like, what's the big deal? Why is this book so sad? Then I feel like, okay, am I like just an emotionless monster that everybody else describes this book and I don't? So either one, just not a good situation, you know? But I've got the book currently on my Kindle, and I thought, I'm considering reading it. And I thought, everybody says that this is also a very sad book, so I thought I'll read this to kind of get myself ready to read A Little Life. So yeah, this book, the ending of this book, absolutely broke my heart. Oh my god. And I realise now that if I am that upset over this book, that I will definitely, most definitely, probably be upset and bawl my eyes out at A Little Life. So yeah, that's at least good to know that I'm not an emotionless monster, because this book actually broke me. I'm not even joking. Yeah, it's about Autumn and Finn. It's a romance. They basically grew up together because their mums are best friends. They live next to each other. They grew up together, they're best friends. But over the years, you basically follow their friendship over the years and how it grows and evolves. And around high school, they sort of stop becoming friends, like, because Finn becomes the popular guy and Autumn is seen as the weird girl. And in high school, everybody knows high school, that sort of, it changes them and they just stop becoming friends, and then something happens, but then they come back together and start it's just following their friendship, and oh my god, it's so sad. Everybody says that you find out what happens at the start of the book, so but it's still so sad. And I was reading the start of the book and I was like, oh, okay, now I see what everybody says is sad. But I'm like, but how is this gonna make me like bawl my eyes out? How do people cry at this if you already know what's going to happen? But the reason is because you get so attached to the characters. But I didn't even feel like I was that attached to the characters. I honestly didn't. The reason why I rated it 4 stars and not 5 is just the start of the book was so slow to me. I feel like this book was just very long. It was very slow, but the chapters in this book are very short, which I do appreciate, because I don't know if I would have rated this lower if the chapters weren't that short, because I did feel like it was sort of dragging. But I feel like if it didn't do that, then the book wouldn't be as good. I feel like you needed that, but at the same time I feel like you don't. I don't know, this book's confusing. It's amazing. It will make you cry. Read it. It is really good. I rated it 4 stars, and I literally can't even think about this book without being upset, because no, I just can't. I can't think about this book. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I might have to rate it up to 5 stars, but I was debating giving it a 5 stars or 4 stars, because this book actually initiated an emotional reaction for me. Like, this book is so sad, but at the same time it just didn't give me that 5-star feeling. I didn't get the 5-star feeling from this book, so I think I'm gonna keep it at, it's gonna be like a 4.5. obviously you can't really do it. I'm gonna give it like 4.5, yeah, because I feel like it was so close to being a 5-star. I just feel like it was a little dragged at some points. But wow. Next I read November 9, also on my Kindle. Wow, that book was crazy. Yeah, that book was very crazy. The main character, I rated it, sorry, I didn't even tell you rating. I rated that 4 stars as well. The main guy character, the things he did, the way he speaks, and his love language is, oh my god, swoon worthy. When I think about the main character in November 9, I'm just like, oh my god, I can't. And the fact that they meet up every day, it's just like crazy. But basically the book's about, if you didn't already know, because it is a popular book, it's about, I forgot the names, but it's about this girl. I'm not good with names in books. Unless they're like a 5-star, I probably will forget the names of the people within the next day. But it's a romance about a guy and a girl, and they basically meet. And the girl's not ready to be in a relationship. She doesn't want to be in a relationship. But the guy is like, it's like insta-lovey, but it's a good kind of insta-love, because even the main girl character doesn't like insta-love. But anyway, she's got like these scars on her face because she was in a house fire. And so her confidence is, she's like not confident at all. She's very self-conscious about her looks and everything. And basically she doesn't want to be in a relationship. And he's like, okay, well, what are we going to do then? So they decide to meet up not every single day. They decide to meet up every single November 9th until she's 23, because she says that she'll be ready for a relationship when she's 23 years old. She says she doesn't want to fall in love until she's 23. So because he doesn't want to go without her and she doesn't want to go without him, they decide, okay, then we'll meet up on November 9th, every single November 9th until you turn 23, and then we'll see what happens. Basically that's what they do, and it basically just follows them throughout the day on each November 9th, and some secrets that are hidden from her, and she finds out some secrets, and it's just amazing. Colleen Hoover, I feel like every single Colleen Hoover book has like a twist. Like every single Colleen Hoover book that I've read has such a twist in the book. It's not just a simple romance. Like when It Starts With Us, that wasn't a simple romance. It wasn't a romance at all. Verity, that wasn't just a simple romance. Like November 9, it's not a simple romance. I haven't read many Colleen Hoover books, but I think I might read some more, because it seems that every single one of her books have a twist, and they're mostly romance books, but these are the type of romance books that I love. The romance books where it's not simply just romance, where I think Larry said it in a video best, where like the two characters, they weren't made to fall in love. Like the whole book is not just about them falling in love with each other and that's just it. I don't like those type of romance books. I just don't know why. I don't like it. I like it to have some depth. I might like those books for like a palate cleanser, but when the sole purpose of two characters in a book is just to fall in love, like that's their sole purpose, it's a bit boring to me. It's just like a bit boring, not realistic either, because they both have their own lives, but when their sole purpose is just to fall in love with each other and you don't get to know anything about them as individuals, it bothers me, really. I don't know, I just don't like those romance books. But yeah, those are the books that I read. And yeah, really good month. That's like 6 books, I think. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I read 6 books this month, which is actually a lot for me. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. The part 2 to the series video that I'm doing will be coming out. I have many exciting videos that I want to film this year, that I hope you guys like. Many exciting videos coming out. Can't wait to film them. I'll see you next time, and yeah, bye.